Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig podcast, we're recapping Season 1 of The Last of Us HBO show.
Okay, well, I think it's pretty apparent that to everyone that we're using a new setup. We have 3 cameras, and we don't know what to do with this.
No, we need to probably address the 3-angled elephant in the room, for sure.
Yeah. So if we are like, don't know which camera, we got 3 cameras. I feel like we are, in some kind of studio, and I don't know which camera to look at.
I don't either. I watched an episode of Hot Ones just last night, and I noticed how good Pedro Pascal, funny enough, was at like looking at different cameras. He even like made jokes about like looking at the wrong camera, and like I could tell we're not that way.
No, we're not. We're going to need to kind of get used to it.
Definitely.
But we're just going to try to treat this like a normal thing, and we're going to see how it works and see how new lighting, new 3 cameras, I don't know.
Act naturally, Randy.
We're going to try. So, Daniel.
Randy.
The Last of Us on HBO has wrapped up its first season.
Yeah,
and now I have some thoughts on it. We talked about, after the first episode, we kind of talked about what we thought about it. But now that the season's over, I thought it would be fun to go through and kind of give a recap of everything and also get some comments from people and find out what other people thought about the show.
Yeah, we talked about, I brought this up last night on the way home from our gig, and you were like, no, we can't talk about it now. We have to save it for the podcast. So we haven't talked to each other about this at all. And I totally looked at my camera there.
Jim.
Yeah.
You gemmed the camera?
I totally gemmed it. But yeah. So, I mean, you want to start with this poll, or you want to kind of share our thoughts first?
Let's start with the poll, and then we'll kind of share our thoughts along the way.
Okay.
So we put out a poll saying, what did you think about Season 1 of The Last of Us on HBO? Daniel, hit us with the results.
At 38%, people loved it. At 15%, it was okay. At a measly 2%, they didn't like it. And 45% didn't watch.
So I think the thing I was most impressed about this was 2 things. One, how few people didn't like it. And then also that the majority of people actually watched the show.
Yeah, I mean, that 2% not liking it number is pretty telling.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, and if we say like, okay, 50% or over 50% watched the show, you can double and say, okay, maybe it was out of the people who watched, it was more like 4% of people that didn't like it. Still, that's pretty good.
Really good.
Yeah. So I put out a comment on this poll, a pinned comment, and said, anyone got a favorite moment or episode? I was really looking forward to seeing how they recreated the final scene, the one, to see if it would carry the same impact as the game. That was like the thing I wanted to see. Like, are they going to be able to recreate that?
And I was actually curious because I know that I'm supposed to know the one, but I wasn't sure which one you meant.
I'm talking about the very last scene.
You're talking about when Joel tells Ellie the lie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, that, because it's such like a gut punch, and then it just cuts straight to black, and that's like such a cool moment in the game.
I didn't know if that's what you were talking about, or if you were talking about when you flamethrowered the surgeon. I thought that might have been what you were talking about too.
Me and Catherine were talking about that. So just for reference, we are going to be doing spoilers for the first Last of Us game and the Last of Us HBO show.
Definitely.
That should be clear. But I don't think we're going to have any spoilers for the Last of Us Part 2.
Nah.
We won't talk about that.
No.
But so at the end of the game, when you go in and
when you mutilate that whole hospital.
You mutilate the doctor. Both times I played the game, I mutilated him with a flamethrower because that was my favorite weapon in the game.
Yeah.
I love the flamethrower.
I did it exactly like Joel did it, and I just like executioner style shot him in the head.
Yeah.
It just felt like, it felt the most, realistic.
Right. And what's crazy, and I don't think it's a spoiler saying Part 2, you have a flashback to that moment. And I remember thinking like, that wasn't the way I did it.
That's not what happened.
It was a flamethrower.
Where's the jar? By the time I was done, it smelled like a Burger King.
And when I was playing the remake, I did the same thing. I was like, I have to go in with a flamethrower again. It was the only way to do it for me.
That's hilarious.
But we got Tom Derry, who said, I could go on and on. The best episode was the Bill episode, which was episode 3. The problem is, though, that it didn't drive the story forward. Essentially, it was a DLC equivalent, additional content that didn't affect the main game.
I also loved the Bill episode, and he's right. It didn't push the story forward, but what we did get to see is, some additional backstory on a lot of people's, one of their favorite characters from the first game. And we got to see Nick Offerman like totally stretch his chops, So I loved that episode. But yeah, you're right. It didn't drive the story forward.
No, it was what do they call that? A bottle episode. Where it's just, one, on its own. It really doesn't affect the main story at all. But it was cool. Did you have a favorite moment or episode from the game? I mean, from the movie? Or not the movie, the show.
From the show?
Gosh, I can't even... We're getting all our media mixed up here.
I really liked the David episode.
Okay, yeah. I think that was episode...
It was like the penultimate episode, yeah.
Episode 8, yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that one. I loved seeing Joel, like, kind of get healed and come back and torture those two guys. I was waiting on that. I wondered how gruesome they would be. They got it really right. As far as a particular straight up moment, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite moment would be. But I think that was my favorite episode.
Okay, yeah. I think my favorite episode was either I'm kind of torn between the last two episodes. I liked the last episode a lot. I really liked that the last episode was so true. I feel like it was the most true to the game out of any of the episodes in terms of like how they approached it. They really didn't, besides the adding in, Ellie's birth, which, So you have thoughts on that? I can tell you're not. Were you not happy with the way they did that?
No.
So, do you know the backstory behind this?
The backstory behind this?
That wasn't just added for the show. Like that wasn't something that was created by the showrunners or anything.
What's the backstory?
So I watched an interview with Neil Druckmann, and he said that's canon. That's how they had originally like planned to do a prequel Last of Us game, and that was the story that they were going to use in the prequel game to explain why Ellie was immune. And then the game ended up not being made, but they continued to use that storyline in the show.
Like they kept it in their heads when they were writing like that. So that was
like that was something that had already been that was already essentially, I guess, Neil Druckmann's headcanon for why Ellie was immune.
And Neil Druckmann's headcanon is canon.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like George Lucas's headcanon,
Right.
Right. I just didn't like it because I don't need to know why Ellie's immune. I don't
think it was needed, no.
I feel like that's one of the coolest things. It's like, we don't know why this girl's immune. Also, I love Ashley Johnson. But it just felt like now I didn't know this backstory about Neil's headcanon, but it felt like they just shoehorned Ashley Johnson in. And they were like, well, she can be Ellie's mama. And then like, oh my God, that's how Ellie got her knife. And oh my God, her mom says the F word too. Like, it just felt way too on the nose for me. And that was one of the two missteps that I felt like the show made.
Interesting. One of the two. Do you want to save your other?
Sure.
Okay. I think...
Let's tease it.
I had no problem with the way they handled Ellie's mom. I didn't think it was needed, but I also didn't have like that doesn't make sense. I mean,
No, I mean, it made so much sense. It was too much. It made too much sense. Yeah.
Right.
No, the whole time I was like, I heard Ashley Johnson. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be Ellie's mom. And I just, the whole time I was like, I'd really rather just be with Joel and Ellie right now. And like Marlene, like, okay, so Marlene literally like took Ellie basically from the womb.
Yeah, like Marlene was Ellie's mom, basically.
Yeah, and then does what with her? Like takes her to the Boston QC and lets her like go to soldier school and like
right. That's a little weird. I didn't think about that. Like, why would Marlene let her like basically be raised by Fedra? Or like be Why would she do that?
And then, like, at the end, she's gonna just let her die? Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I just wasn't feeling it, man.
I got you on that. So that was one of the things they added in the last episode that wasn't like the game. That was like pretty much the only thing they added.
Yeah.
But that's a big thing. It's a big thing. And I can understand not being in love with it. Okay. So... next, we got a comment from Heather Cook, who has changed their handle now. It's Miss Foe.
What was it?
It was
Black
Rhino Films.
Rhino Films, yeah. Miss Foe
said, I loved it. I wish all the video game adaptations were done this well.
Me too.
So yeah, you don't get many video game adaptations that are really great.
You do know it. We got another comment from Jeremy Gage. Says, I think it had some pacing issues and needed at least a couple more episodes. But everything we got was still amazing and I absolutely loved it. So this kind of goes into my other gripe with the show. Pacing issues, I mean, it was fast. It was really fast to tell what, in my opinion, is the greatest story ever told. And I wish they had given themselves maybe just a couple more, just one or two more. But my main gripe isn't really just pacing issue. It's a specific pacing issue with the episode where Joel got hurt.
So is that your second misstep? Is that okay? Let's go into it. Let's go ahead and go into it.
Yeah. So in the game, the way I remember it from that point is that Joel really hasn't turned her loose and let her start shooting folks yet. But then he gets thrown off this rail, gets impaled, and then he's like, "Get us out of here," and Ellie shoots people, right? It's some action, Ellie. Well, there was none of that in the episode. Ellie was still very much like helpless little girl who says the F word. That kind of hurt me to distill Ellie down to that because I love Ellie, but that's kind of what she was doing at that point. Now, I understand why they didn't throw Joel off a rail.
Yeah.
Because
they also didn't do the make you think he was dead thing, which the game did.
Yeah. Now, that's a little unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, like him getting impaled it's going to be a little harder to recover from intestinal trauma than just a stab, you know?
So I get why they went for a baseball bat shiv kind of thing. But I just felt like I didn't realize it was going to even happen that episode. I didn't realize till we got closer to the end, and I was like, oh my God, I think we're in this location. I remember a lot of things happened in that episode. It moved a lot, and then all of a sudden Joel got hurt. And I just felt like it came out of nowhere, and that's the moment when I was like, holy crap, they're going to finish the season. So
yeah, they're going to be. We thought,
they're going to finish the game
during our predictions. Really after the first episode, we thought they might try to stretch the first game into 2 seasons of show. We thought they would, but they did not. They put the entire first game into the first season, which I think, we had 9 episodes, and all of them were roughly an hour or more. I would say that probably if you were to tie them all together, I'd say it was probably over 10 hours of show, which is roughly probably what it takes to play the game. So they're similar amounts of time that it takes that you spend with these characters.
Yeah.
But the thing that kind of threw me is that because there was so much focus on sub characters or B characters, that we really didn't get to spend as much time with Joel and Ellie as we do in the game. So I felt like we never got to connect to Joel and Ellie in the same way that you would with the game.
I only felt it one time. I only felt like the real Joel and Ellie connection one time, and you know what I'm talking about. Because the game is just drenched in it. But the David episode, in the game, if I remember right, Ellie's hacking him up with a machete, and Joel comes in there and pulls her off of her.
Yeah.
They did it a little differently in the show. She walked out of the house all shell shocked, or the restaurant all shell shocked, and then Joel was there. He came up behind her, but when he said, "I got you, baby girl," I felt that.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, in the game, in the hospital scene, when he's carrying her out unconscious, he says that a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember that, that hit me really hard. So that hit me harder than the hospital.
Yeah, I think that was a really good moment because it was the first time he had said that, in 20 years or something,
Right.
And that was a really, really emotional moment. Probably the most emotional moment in the entire series, for sure. I think they really nailed that.
Yeah, that's the only time I felt the real authentic, the same level of Joel Ellie connection that I feel in the game. And that's not a knock on Pedro or Bella Ramsey. I thought they were both great. It's just,
Right.
you're playing with some pretty special stuff there.
Yeah. This next comment we got is from Miguel GC Gamer, who said, "I really like it, but I felt like the pacing on some episodes were a little slow." Okay. So opposite complaint. And not many infected were shown. Episode 5 was amazing. Overall 8 out of 10. So not many infected at all.
That is true.
There were some episodes where we didn't see infected at all the entire episode.
That is true. And
or at least I think there were some. It felt like there were some.
It seems like all great zombie mediums eventually get away from zombies being the main focus. This one just did it faster than the rest of them.
Yeah. And which is sad because the infected looked so cool. Clickers looked really good. The acting, the way they did the practical effects, I thought looked really good. And I would have loved to have seen more of that.
Yeah, we hardly got any clickers. And when we did, they looked great.
Yeah. We have one bloater, some clickers, and then, just your general runners,
And the runners were scary. I liked it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Look who's commenting next, Daniel.
All
The
way
man,
from
the
Tahiti.
myth, the legend, old Dutch Vanderland
Oh, man.
said, "I'm an Xbox guy and I loved it."
And what he's saying there is he can't play the game, but he still loved the show.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I would like to know, have you played the game? That's my question. You know, if you're an
Yeah,
Xbox
Dutch.
guy, have you played the game?
Do they have, maybe they have an Xbox version in Tahiti? You know,
Who knows?
you tell us.
That's great.
Which brings us to a very important part of today's episode, Randy. Mm-hmm. We need to plug the Discord.
We do.
Did you guys know we have a Discord?
Yes. we do have a Discord, and we would love for you to join us and become part of our Discord community. And you do that through, there's a link that's going to be in pretty much every Gaming Gig video that's created. Daniel, what are you doing trying to creep in my frame?
What?
Every Gaming Gig video that has a description, which is all of them, has the Discord link, and you can join and become part of our Discord community. And there you can see, we have people who hang out and post gaming stuff. Just sometimes it's just people letting you know what they're up to in gaming. Mm-hmm. But then also we have our Twitch notifications when we go live on Twitch there. And also every time we create either a podcast or a video on the Gaming Gig channel, it gets posted to our Discord. So if you don't trust like YouTube subscriptions to keep you up to date, you can go there and you'll get notified every time we post a video.
Absolutely. We'd love to see you over there.
Yep, absolutely. We'd love to have you. Okay, so kind of a secondary poll here. Mm-hmm. I wanted to know, how many people have played The Last of Us, just to kind of something related, but also just to gauge what people have played.
Right. So at 41%, folks played the original. At 4%, they played the remake. That's not many. At 10%, they played both. And at 45%, they have not played it.
What's crazy to me, I think 45% of people said they didn't watch the show, and 45% of people said they have not played the game. So the numbers are identical, which is crazy.
That is odd.
Yeah, isn't that
I wonder
strange?
how many people. No, we had more vote. We had about 400 more voters in this one too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is a little bigger sample size, but yeah, that is kind of odd.
Yeah, it's a little strange. Now, I've played both. I think you started the remake, but you
I
didn't
still
get
haven't really played the remake. I've got it on my rainy day list though.
Yeah.
But the original is my favorite game of all time. Now I played the remastered, not the original.
Yeah, and I put on the thing, I kind of consider the remastered, it's basically the original. It's really not, it's like a little up-resed. It's not that much different. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, that's why this show was able to, be so successful, is it already had such a established fan base. So many people consider this to be one of the best games ever. In fact, we have a comment here from Keith Cool who says, "I can say one of the best games ever. Love it." So a lot of people do consider The Last of Us to be one of, if not the best game ever.
Well, it's my favorite game ever. But, I realize that it's not for everybody because a lot of people, they're all about the action, they're all about the gameplay, and The Last of Us is all about the story.
Yes.
So it's clearly the masterclass in video game storytelling, period.
Right.
And our friend Frankie made the comparison of it to God of War, which God of War is also great storytelling, but it's a completely different kind. The Last of Us is it's make you think about the way you treat people kind of story, get in your head.
God of War doesn't quite do
God
that.
of War is like a popcorn blockbuster flick.
Right.
God of War is like in-game, and Last of Us is honestly just Last of Us.
Yeah, I think what makes, kind of a side tangent on God of War, but one of the things I think is really great about God of War is that it blends, gameplay elements and story elements together so well into a really fun experience. But you're right, it is way more like a blockbuster action movie than it is an emotional drama, which The Last of Us is way more in that field.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, we got another comment from Heather Cook /Miss Foe, and she says, "It took me 3 tries across the original and the remaster, but I did finally finish it in 2015. It's not my favorite Naughty Dog game, but I thought it was pretty good."
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of you. The first time you played The Last of Us, you jumped off of it, as you tend to do with games.
Yeah.
And then you, years and years later, came back to it and ended up loving it. Mm-hmm. You went back, in 2020?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably 2020.
I think it was one of your pandemic games.
It wasn't too long after Part 2 came out.
No. Yeah, I think part 2 came out in 2020. Yeah, so you getting a call?
Yep.
So, yeah. So let's see here. Next, we got Daniel Bars. Daniel's got some bars here. Saying,
yeah.
Steam has got me covered in this one. Gotta wait. So yeah, it's on PC now, or part 1, the remake, is on PC. And it's on Steam, but it is it's $60 on Steam, which, if I remember correctly, I don't know if they've dropped the price of the PlayStation 5 version of the remake. It was $70. It may be $60 now as well. I don't know, but on Steam it's $60. I looked just to see, but it's not. It didn't say it was discounted. It just said it was $60.
Well, Steam has a lot of great sales going on right now. I guess that's just not one of them.
No, it's not. Right
Yeah.
now we have the spring sale going on, and it is
Yeah.
not a part of that spring sale.
Yeah, no, it's the spring sale has got some really, really good stuff. Just a sidebar, but
Yeah.
I've already picked up Tekken 7. I bought Undertale because it's like $2, and everybody says it's great. And then Street Fighter 5. I got both of those.
I haven't bought any, but I don't really PC game much. I want to purchase Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice because I want to play that in VR.
Oh, I also got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for like $3.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that
Marvel
game.
versus Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom, not Ultimate Alliance. Sorry, Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3.
I don't keep track of
That's
those
what it
games.
is.
I don't even try with those. We got a comment here from Franklin the GTA, a big GTA fan.
Franklin the GTA.
Franklin, one of the main characters in GTA.
I am familiar.
Said, I only play Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA 5, and Ghost of Tsushima. That's all. Those are good games.
I just play those games.
Those are great games. Those are great games.
Those are great games. Those are
All
like
three are
those
great
are like
games.
10 out of 10 games.
Yeah, those are awesome.
But you're missing like the one true 11 out of 10.
The Last of Us is an
Yeah.
11.
And
There's
I'm a
all-
numbers guy. Like that checks out. Let's see if Celeria Rose can help us out here. She said, or I don't know if it's a lady or not. Anyway, Celeria Rose said very briefly, I played a bit of the beginning and came to the conclusion that while the writing was good, the game itself just wasn't up my alley.
Well, the writing is good. The writing is very good. But
This
now,
shakes me.
here's the thing. Last of Us gameplay,
It's not the best.
it's not the best gameplay. It
It's
really
way
isn't.
better in part 2.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Part 2 is better in terms of an action, like gameplay thing. But part 2 has its issues that a lot of people don't like in other ways. So, but I do think part 2 really nails the gameplay and makes it more fun to play.
Yeah. I've gone back and watched some YouTube videos of some people playing part 2. And I just forgot how like immersive the gameplay is. Like the way Ellie like falls and like shoots from her back and like it's just so good.
Yeah, it's
So good.
super cool. They really brought it up a level with part 2. And when you compare it to part 1, you really notice the difference. Like it is super cool. So maybe try part 2. I don't know. I mean, I would if you
It's
watched
got the gameplay on lock.
if you've watched the show on part of the first HBO show or the first season of HBO show, you should be able to move into part 2 and play the game no problem.
No
You should
problem.
pick right up.
Yep.
Just like you.
You've even played the DLC.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. You really are caught up.
All right, we got a comment from Lobesterol.
Lobesterol.
Personally, never actually liked The Last of Us, which is funny since I love Naughty Dog's Uncharted games. We're getting a lot of dissent on The Last of Us in these comments that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting everybody to just gush like they're supposed to.
Well, like you're supposed to love The Last of Us.
I'm just kidding.
Uncharted, I love the Uncharted games. I'm a big fan. I've played them all except the handheld ones. And love those games, but they are completely different games. Uncharted is an action game and Uncharted 4 puts a little bit more in terms of the prioritizing the story, which I think is a lot of the reasons that some people don't like Uncharted 4. Because it does prioritize story a little bit more than the action. Whereas the first 3 games are just straight up action games with, they have story elements, but they're more action games.
The story for me in the first Uncharted game was frustrating because I can only remember the story of a man in his living room trying to shoot people and not being able to aim at them.
Yeah, I mean, the first game
first one was a little.
The first one shows its age a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
You
It
know?
does.
Yeah, it really does. I think once you get into Uncharted 2, 2, 3, and 4, and the Lost Legacy, I think the gameplay is great on those. Lost Legacy, I wasn't as hot on. It was okay. Wasn't as good as 2, 3, or 4 for sure. Mm-hmm. I loved 4 personally. I thought 4 was the best because it was really fun and it had a great story.
Right. All right. We got a comment from the O Roberts. Mm-hmm. Not Theo.
It's Theo, not Theo.
The O Roberts.
It's definitely not Theo Roberts.
No, the O Roberts. He's Irish.
Okay.
The O Roberts says the remake had no reason to be made. To be honest, they charged full price, even though it was missing the multiplayer. Did this comment get pasted from an old poll?
No, but I'm sure we had people talk about that in the old polls.
I know. I just feel like you transported me like months back in time when the remaster or when the remake was coming out, because this is all I heard.
Yeah, and it is a bummer that they didn't do the multiplayer.
It is.
But I know they're doing a multiplayer game. They're working on it.
Yeah, like
It's
a standalone.
A standalone, and I'm excited to play it. But it would have been nice if it was included in the remake. That would have been a real reason to want to buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought it anyway.
Right.
But it really would have been like maybe people would have felt like it was worth the $70 if they had done that.
Right.
If they had put a reworked multiplayer in that was really big and
Well, I'm hoping that when they do drop their multiplayer, that it's big and awesome. I mean,
do you think it's going to be free to play or do you think it's going to be a paid game and then additional content on?
Naughty Dog's never done a free to play, have they?
No.
So that would be new for them, but I think it would fit that pretty well.
We see a lot of people going like free to play. I mean, like Halo went free to play. Mm-hmm. The new Destiny game went free to play. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like other people are doing it.
Yeah, and if they did go free to play, maybe some of these people that are pissed off that they never got their multiplayer wouldn't be pissed off anymore.
Yeah, it might help, get a little goodwill towards the gamers for sure. Mm-hmm. That being said, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a paid game.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
I would like to see it be free to play. I mean, why not? So next we got Kyle Price, who said the remaster did it justice while the remake didn't serve any purpose other than a cash grab. I mean, people are hating on the remake, man.
I know, man. I just do. I mean, I hear you.
Yeah, I get it.
I just don't like all the hate that The Last of Us has gotten ever since Part 2 came out.
Yeah.
Ever since Part 2 came out, people, and I'm not picking on you, Kyle.
No, I'm sure.
I understand your last name is Price. You had to talk about cash. Like, I get it. But it's like, since Part 2 came out, people just can't just love The Last of Us anymore. It's like...
Yeah, and Part 2 really divided the fan base very hard, and they knew that. I think I've seen where they said, like, we know this is going to divide the fan base. Some people are not going to like this. It's just going to be the way it is. They took a big risk with the game.
I just don't agree.
Yeah,
I mean, not about the cash grab. Maybe it was a little bit of a cash grab, but
I think it shouldn't have been $70.
Yeah. No.
I really do. I really think it being $70 was a bad move. I paid for it, so I can't really complain that much. It's not like
you didn't vote with your wallet.
I didn't vote with my wallet exactly.
But what I can complain about is people dishing on Part 2.
Well, we don't know there. This has nothing to do with Part 2.
I know. It just got me on the tangent. That's all.
Saying.
It's not your fault, Kyle. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about our Twitch because I want to let people know about this so they know we do this because I think a lot of people don't realize we do it. Mm-hmm. On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, we stream on Twitch, and we would love to have you come hang out with us because it's the only place that we're able to have a live conversation with you while we're playing video games. And we just like hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, on Tuesdays, we're streaming Smash, which has been really fun. It's really popping off. On Thursdays, we have been streaming Fortnite. Who knows if that'll be Fortnite on Thursday? I don't know. We've been talking about shaking it up. And on Sunday, we stream Rocket League.
Which also we might shake up. Right now, the only thing that's really set in stone that we're for sure going to be doing is Smash on Tuesdays. But for the time being, that's the schedule. But come hang out with us no matter what we're playing. We just love to chat with you and see what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Okay, Daniel, we're at the end of the podcast, which means we are at the 3 for Dale Club. And let me tell you, we got quite a 3 for Dale Club this week.
This week we have 2 3 for Dales plus 1. That's 7. 7 for Dale.
7 people in the 3 for Dale Club. Just to let you know what the 3 for Dale Club is. You made it all the way to the end of this podcast, and we want to shout you out to kind of like say thanks to you at the end of the next podcast. So, Daniel, you keep creeping on my camera, man. This is getting awkward. So what you got to do is put a comment in the video, just somewhere in your comment, put 3 for Dale. That lets me know that you were one of the people who made it to the end of the video, and we'll shout you out at the end of the next podcast.
That's right. So this week, first member of the 3 for Dale Club is Metaphor.
Metaphor. I get it. I like it.
Oh, Metaphor.
Metaphor.
I knew that
You
already. I definitely caught that already. Clever. Go ahead.
We
baby.
also got Punchy Punch.
Yeah.
Oh, Punchy Punch.
Punchy Punch texted or Discord messaged me last night at midnight asking to play games.
Too late.
Bruh, I was asleep.
Yeah.
Sorry, Punchy Punch. Anyway, Landon Stallings is our next member, longtime member. We appreciate you so much, Landon.
I don't think Landon has missed a 3 for Dale Club in months.
Landon is the biggest Dale fan. Like, he is dripping in Intimidator merch right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know he is.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, don't slip because the drip is strong. Am I right? For real.
Next.
On babies.
Oh my goodness. I can't even, the level of cringe right now. Next, we got Heather Cook in the 3 for Dale Club. Heather, thank you so much for always giving us great comments to talk about and also being part of the 3 for Dale Club.
And joining the Discord recently.
Yeah.
We appreciate having you over there. Next up, we got Tom Derry.
Tom Derry.
Not to be confused with Tom and Jerry.
Oh, I think did we talk about one of Tom Derry's comments earlier? Maybe yes. He was the one who said that the best episode was the Bill episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we also got Guy. Oh, Guy. Thank you for always watching our podcast, Guy.
Thank you, Guy Sensei. And we finally have Fernando Avila. Thank you so much for being a new member of the 3 for Dale Club.
Yeah, guys. Thank you so much for your support. We just, can't say thank you enough. But until next time, guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.